Ben Brown, between 2001 and 2003, attended the University of Minnesota, but did not receive a degree there. From 2022 to 2025, Ben would attend the Tulane University, where he would receive a bachelor's degree. Ben would then decide he wanted to go into the field of medicine, so he would then go to attend the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center between 2005 and 2009. Ben would then specialize in plastic surgery during his residency at Georgetown University between 2009 and 2015. A move to Pensacola in 2015 would have Ben working as a plastic surgeon at Gulf Coast Plastic Surgery. Ben would then leave that practice to open up his own and called it Restore Plastic Surgery in Gulf Breeze. Hilary Ellington Brown would be born on September 2nd of 1990 in Mobile, Alabama. Her parents would describe her as full of fire and energy since she was a little girl, and then she would go to college at North Delta in Mississippi. She would eventually graduate from there with a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. Hilary was also the mom of 3 young children from a previous marriage, and everyone that knew her described her as a loving and devoting mother. Ben and Hilary would meet when Hilary would go into Ben's clinic for a breast reduction, and the two would begin dating on July 5th of 2021. The couple would quickly get married in June of 2022. Hilary's father would say that the couple's marriage was volatile, that sometimes blew more hot than cold, but for the most part, Hilary enjoyed their life together. She especially loved the fact that her husband performed regular plastic surgery procedures on her face and body. On November 21st of 2023, Hilary was having yet another procedure done by her husband. Hilary would have multiple things done to her that day. This surgery, however, did not go as smoothly as Ben's prior surgeries on his wife. Hilary would begin to have a seizure and become unresponsive. Hilary would be taken to the hospital where she would fall into a coma and then later be put on life support. Ben would take to social media to write, "We need prayers for a miracle. Hilary had a cardiac arrest on Tuesday afternoon. We called 911 and started CPR. Her heart came back, but her brain is not doing well. Hilary Ellington Brown, you are my soulmate, my world, my everything. Please come back, please." Unfortunately, Hilary would never wake up and died a week later. The medical examiner concluded that Hilary died due to complications of lidocaine toxicity. The sheriff's office would then issue an arrest warrant for Ben. Ben would turn himself in, and he would be charged with homicide and negligent manslaughter. The health department stated that on November 21st of 2023, Ben was performing a scar revision, arm liposuction, lip injection, and ear adjustment on Hilary Brown. Also, before Hilary was put into a sedative state, she took a handful of multicolored pills, including Valium, an antibiotic, and a painkiller. The level of disregard Dr. Brown paid for patient safety, even when the patient was his wife, indicates that Dr. Brown is unwilling or incapable of providing the appropriate level of care to his future patients, the health department stated. The health department stated that Hilary, without the supervision of her husband or another medical professional present, would prepare her own local anesthesia and prepare her own IV bags for her several procedures that she was having. Ben also, according to the health department, did not document any of the contents of the IV bags nor any of the pills that Hilary took beforehand. The minimum prevailing professional standard of care requires that physicians not permit a patient to prepare medication used for their own surgery. According to the health department, Hilary would even assist in her own procedures by suturing up her skin back together. It wasn't determined if Hilary had any medical training whatsoever, but she would be featured on the clinic's Facebook page multiple times, and in one of those times she would be seen in scrubs. Hilary Brown would tell Ben that her vision became blurry and she saw orange. She would become restless and her feet would begin to twitch. Restlessness, muscle twitches, and blurred vision are all early signs of lidocaine toxicity. According to the health department, when Ben heard about Hilary's vision, he injected more anesthetic and lidocaine into her face, and this is when Hilary would become unresponsive and then have her seizure. The report says when asked by a medical examiner if they should call 911, Ben would tell them no. When the medical examiner would ask on and off for the next 10 to 20 minutes, Ben would reply no or hold on. It wouldn't be until Hilary's breathing would become shallow, till her pulse and till her blood oxygen levels became low for 10 to 20 minutes after she had started seizing, that Ben would decide to call the paramedics.
Ben would also begin to perform resuscitation efforts on her.
The medical examiner would eventually tell the police that she was the one who made the decision to call the paramedics, not Ben.
Hilary's father and friends would state that Hilary wasn't too happy in her marriage, but she wanted her marriage to work, so she was reluctant to leave. Hilary's dad also expressed his disapproval of Ben's actions when Hilary was in the hospital. He felt like he did not care that Hilary was on life support at the time. He felt like he cared more about the money than his wife being on life support.
Marty Ellington, who was Hilary's dad, would state that apparently his insurance was canceled on the 30th, and he sent me a text to make sure that I was with the plan to either send her to hospice either before or after that date. He sent a text that we need to make sure that her time of death is before the 30th, because if not, the insurance benefits would go away and my grandkids would not get any life insurance.
Her father stated that he was not worried about the money. He was hopeful that his daughter would pull through. Yet Ben, all his concern was that her time of death would be before the 30th in order to gain his insurance. And that he kept going on about how he was going to sell this and that and then file bankruptcy and get a new car before his credit tanked. Her father stated that in those moments, all he could think was, oh my God, I am not worried about that right now. My daughter is fighting for her life. I just want people to know what type of person that he is.
Marty would stop talking to Ben altogether shortly after the death of his daughter. Soon after, he would be informed by a friend that Ben had been selling some of Hilary's things on Facebook Marketplace.
Marty would express to investigators that he asked Ben what happened, and Ben would state that he normally would have this type of medication, a certain type of medication in the office, but that day he didn't, so he had to use something different. And Marty just wonders why there wasn't enough medical personnel on staff or enough medical equipment, emergency equipment on staff during this procedure. Marty has come to the conclusion that Ben saw an opportunity to end Hilary's life among their incredibly increasing troubled marriage and took it.
I don't think it was premeditated, but I will to the end of my days believe that he saw an opportunity. Because she got to the point of lidocaine poisoning, he knew that he could, he knew how many minutes to delay and what the outcome would be.
Investigators spoke to an ex-employee of Restore Plastic Surgery Clinic who would leave after the death of Hilary. They stated that Ben would more than not always give Hilary more medication than her weight recommended. They even said that at one particular surgery prior to this, Ben struggled to wake Hilary back up. At the time of the investigation, Restore Plastic Surgery Clinic had 2 lawsuits against them, but only one named Ben as the defendant. The case against Ben involves William and Wendy Cardon, who alleged that Ben used foreign materials in a post-mastectomy breast reconstructive surgery without Wendy's consent, which led to an infection and sepsis at the surgery site.
The lawsuit alleges Ben of negligently failing to periodically monitor the position of the upper extremities. As a result, Wendy claims to have suffered nerve damage and other permanent injury due to the extension and position of her arms during the prolonged surgery. This lawsuit is still ongoing. A clinical professor of medicine named Dr. Mark Siegel stated that Ben should have never operated on his own wife or any other relative. He stated whether it's illegal or not, it's immoral and unethical for any physician to perform procedures on a family member. He says it's shocking that they would also block an emergency call by not calling 911 immediately, especially during a seizure. If someone has a seizure, you call 911. It's an extremely disturbing apparent deviation from standard of care.
Ben would have lawyers provide a statement on behalf of him and his family. They would state that Ben's deep grief and shock is compounded by the many mistruths that are circulating online and in the media. Ben is completely devastated by the sudden loss of his wife Hilary, and is desperately trying to figure out how to live one day, never mind a lifetime, without her by his side. Ben's lawyers would also state that Ben was performing a minor and routine service on Hilary that day, and that Hilary, during her emergency situation, all of the protocols were taking place and that there was additional staff present at the time of the procedure. And that is the end of today's video. Until next time, be safe, Earthlings. Peace out.